Look, the framers of the Constitution took so much care to make it so difficult to impeach a sitting president, even if he has committed treason. You need 2/3 of the Senate to get rid of a president who's committed treason. Do you think the framers of the 14th Amendment would have simply allowed any Secretary of State without any process, without any procedure, to simply say, no, we think President Trump has engaged in insurrection, even though no court has ever found that, and therefore we're going to take him off our ballot and we're going to create a constitutional crisis? That is simply wrong. Professor Tribe does not know what he's talking about. And I guarantee you one thing, if the shoe were on the other foot, if this were an attempt to disqualify a Democrat, Professor Tribe would be writing exactly the opposite article and citing exactly the same sources, because you can always count on Tribe to twist, distort, and turn the Constitution to come out to make his political points. That's why we're different. I'm not smarter than Tribe. I'm just more honest. I look at the Constitution not through the eyes of partisan or political politics. As you know, I'm not myself a Trump supporter. I look at it through the eyes of history, the framers. He first looks at the result he wants, and then he manipulates and figures out how we can get at that result. And Judge Luttig has, although he's been a very, very conservative and cautious Republican, has just decided to join this on the other side, and the other two professors too. They're just dead wrong. You don't have a constitutional procedure for disqualifying a candidate without setting up procedures for how you do it. As Felix Frankfurter once said, the story of liberty is a story of procedures. And if you lack a procedure and you just say it's self-enforcing, any Secretary of State, any governor can deprive me of the right to vote against Donald Trump for the third time and deny you the right to vote for Donald Trump the third time. That's not what America is about. America is about an election. If you don't like Donald Trump, vote against him, campaign against him, contribute against him, but don't try to disqualify him and tens of millions of Americans who want to vote for him. That's un-American and unconstitutional.
When they came out with their initial analysis on the 14th Amendment, you said that was dead wrong. That was only about the Civil War. Can you give us a minute on that?
Sure. The 14th Amendment is about the Civil War. It talks about not having to pay for emancipated slaves. It talks about not having to pay the debts of the Confederacy. And then it says people who have involved in the revolt, which meant the Civil War. And you didn't need a procedure for that. Confederates were proudly proclaiming their support for the Confederacy. So it was very obvious who fought against the United States. But if you try to project that now, 150, 60 years forward, you need a process. You need a procedure. And the 14th Amendment was designed only to make sure that those who fought in the Civil War against the Union could not run for office.
This is the drive they're going to have. He's an insurrectionist. He's not eligible to run. And even-handed, common sense people will say that. Professor Dershowitz, the book, and how are you going to fight this? Because I'm telling you, this is going to be a firestorm. I can see it coming.
Well, I've challenged Tribe to a debate anywhere, anytime, any place with anyone, you being the moderator. He cannot defend and sustain this position. It would be the end of democracy in America if every Secretary of State and if every governor of a state that opposes a candidate can determine who's on the ballot. It's the end of process. There's no process for doing this. It's just up to individuals. And it can't be allowed to happen because the other side will do the same thing. The Republican governors will start disqualifying or trying to disqualify Biden, and neither should work. The American public should make that decision. Let them make the case. You know, this procedure doesn't even require a conviction. It doesn't even require a complaint. All it requires is, well, we think he's an insurrectionist, and if we think he's an insurrectionist, you can't vote for him. What an undemocratic thing to do, and Professor Tribe ought to be ashamed of himself, and let's see if he's willing to come out of the environs of Harvard and debate me on national television. Let the American public hear both sides of this issue. CNN won't present both sides of this issue. They present the Tribe and Luttig without any answers. And the same thing is going to be true of other channels. Let there be a real debate. That's what America is about. Debate, discussion, and voting, not having a couple of people make decisions for us.